o'clock. So, welcome everybody to the EGM on the 8th of April at 7 p.m. The first item is the notice that this this meeting is being recorded by Mr. Chamberlain and broadcast out on the Stone channel. Anybody that wishes to, please feel free to turn off their camera or blur their background or select a nondescript background. Item 1, apologies.
We have councillors Jackie Chambers, Angie Spencer and Brian Henney.
Somebody proposed acceptance? Proposed by Major, seconded by myself. I won't take a vote, but is everybody in favour of that? Yeah, okie dokie. Right, public session. Any members of the public wish to join in? Mr. Holton.
Good evening. The first time that I attended the meeting, and obviously there's the public session, and the main thing that I'm interested in is the square. What is the procedure if anything is brought up regarding the square that has a major interest to me or I disagree with? How can I actually propose or say anything once the public session is actually closed?
We can, if appropriate, we can suspend the standing orders to allow members of the public to speak. But we usually do it just for 2 or 3 minutes. If there's an item that somebody, like your good self, you've got something that can contribute to the meeting, we suspend the meeting, we have a vote, suspend the meeting for 2 or 3 minutes so that you can contribute.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Short.
Yeah, good evening. I'm the named contact for somebody who uses Lifeline, and I know the system works because from time to time I am actually contacted, and I think it's a very valuable system. I'm very concerned that the decision's been made to stop the provision of it in this current form. I'm aware that there will be a limited service going on, but what concerns me is that there won't be the sort of potential response that's been available up till now. And I was wondering if the town council had thought of any way that they might be able to do anything to offset the diminution in provision of the service. That's basically my question.
I'm afraid at the moment, Mr. Short, I've got no answer to that because we're still, as a town council, we're still in discussions with the borough. So we've had no definitive statements on that as yet. But
thank you. I just feel it's something the town council might think worth thinking about. I don't have an answer to it, but I am concerned that this is Atherstone residents who are being made more vulnerable.
Yeah, I think one of the things, if I can just put the borough councillor's hat on at the moment, it's not stopping the thing; it is transferring it to another supplier, and I think that is that's the only thing I can say at the moment.
David's got his hand up. David Wright.
Oh, sorry, Dave. I haven't got you on my. That's it. I can see you now. Sorry, Dave, you weren't on my screen.
No, that's all right. Thank you, Chair. Just in response to Mr. Short's observation question, well, exactly as you've just said, Chair, you know, the Borough Council has taken the decision to transfer the service. I'm not sure where Mr. Short's got the facts coming from, where he states that there's going to be a diminishing service. It will be the same service, and as you've said, Chair, it's transferring to a different supplier, if you like, different provider, and in fact, there's a very good chance that people will have a enhanced service. And of course, it's a borough council decision. It's you know, not a great deal to do with the town council, and it's because it's obviously a service is provided across North Warwickshire, but it's not. We're not ceasing the service; it's transferred the service.
Okay, thank you.
Chair,
Carol
Carol-
Evans would like to
Yeah,
speak.
Carol Evans. She put her hand up.
Sorry. I can't even see Carol now, but Carol, if you're there.
Yeah, I am indeed.
Sorry,
A
you can't
couple
see
of,
everybody.
that's all right. Just a couple of things, really. First of all, I would like to agree with Tony that the last time we had the meeting, I did ask in the public session if anybody had any questions. And then when I couldn't speak, it wasn't very fair that I couldn't answer the questions. And if Councillor Chambers hadn't intervened, I couldn't have answered your questions. I didn't think that was fair. I think if you do have any questions about the Market Square, it should be raised now so that myself and Tony could answer any questions that we do have about the square in the public session. So that's my first point. And secondly, I did have a message from David Dyde, the licensing officer. He can't make the meeting, so that if you do grant use of the square, that could you convey to the pubs that they have to segregate off their areas. And that's simply for the fact that if there is any trouble, it's more easily identifiable where exactly that trouble started. So he would like, you know, the pubs to be told to segregate off their section, and it is best for the pubs to have segregated sections. And that's all I'd like to say. So just if anybody does have any questions about anything.
Could I just one, Carol, because you're
Yeah.
probably more au fait than this than I. Is it now that everybody that comes to your area has to sign in?
Yes, I was on a webinar yesterday with County Council.
Yeah.
And everybody has to either use the code, the QR code, scan in either that. If they haven't got the app to do that, every single person over the age of 16 must have the details recorded.
Okay,
So
thanks.
children don't have to, but anybody over the age of 16 does. And if the publicans don't gather the information, they are liable to a fine.
Okay, thanks, Carol. Gary?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I just want to read a statement out that's been relayed to me, if I may. It's not a very comfortable thing to do, but I feel as though it needs to be mentioned considering the amount of people that have contacted me of late. So if you would just bear with me 1 second, please, I'd appreciate that. It's a statement regarding concerns that have been raised of late, and I hope the council members will join me in condemning alleged actions which could be deemed undemocratic and not actions of which the Atherstone Town Council would condone. Members, I'm sure, will agree that actions undertaken by individual councillors without the resolution of full council is not normal practice, nor will it condone any form of intimidation or bullying should this take place in order for any individual councillor to gain advantage or the advantage or disadvantage of others. Should any actions such as those described be proven to have taken place, then I'm sure the Town Council would then take the appropriate disciplinary action in accordance with current guidelines set out in the Code of Conduct. I would seek assurances from members that the Council followed democratic process that we're all accustomed, and it is not run as a dictatorship, as I've seen some members of the public refer to of late. I have full confidence in the democratic process of the Council, but should follow, but I fear that of late, many are seeing the actions of individuals undermining the credibility of the whole Council. Finally, I would be grateful if only for the credibility of the Town Council, if we could have some response to these matters in an aim of reassuring the residents that the Council represents. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Any other hand for public session?
Yes,
Councillor
Chair. If I can come back on that, I did raise this certainly within our councillors' WhatsApp group about individual councillors making comments. And I was assured by Councillor David Wright that the substance of the, well, the accusation, if you like, what was being said by the town councillor, I interpret this in this way. So correct me if I'm wrong, Councillor Wright, that what was being said to the member of the public was not accurate. And I think that was a cause of great consternation to another group of people who the town council should have a particular awareness of. Let's just put it that way. I was surprised that nobody else came back saying, you know, that it wasn't anything to do with them.
Councillor Wright, you got your hand up?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just in response to Councillor Bishop, yeah, no, I did say that. I'll confirm that because you know, clearly there were a lot of comments being posted around the place on social media, and I confirm with you that obviously the town council had not made any resolution, and therefore actions of any individual councillor can be ignored because there were no resolutions of the town council. And in response to Gary, absolutely, the town council and town councillors are subject to that code of conduct, and if there's any complaints, the town council will take that very seriously, and we are governed by the monitoring officer at the Borough Council, Mr. Clive Tobin, along with obviously every other councillor. So if there's complaints made, the monitoring officer at the Borough Council takes that complaint, investigates, and then it's his decision as to what action is taken. But clearly, any council, whether it's town council, borough council, will take the necessary action that's required by or recommended by him. So yeah, absolutely, 100% monitored, governed, acted upon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wright. Are there any other issues in public session? I can't see any of the hands. No, I'll take that as a no. Right, the next item is declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest?
Only items regarding to planning, but I don't think there's anything on planning.
No, there's no planning. No.
Excuse me, Chair, can I declare a non-pecuniary interest in the Dickens application for the use of the square?
Okay, thank you. The clerk will record that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right, Market Square bookings. I think if I'm just coming, I think Mrs. Evans has quite clearly stated where the licensees are coming from, that they want to comply, and as long as they comply with the appropriate regulations, which, as I say, obviously you've been at that webinar, you know the rules, that I don't see any problem with that. Councillor Clues, Denise Clues.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say it's nice that we got all these bookings, and I'm quite happy with all the pub bookings, but I think it's nice as well that we've got somebody come forward that wants to do food, because I think that'll complement the other bookings as well. So, you know, I hope it all goes well for all of them. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, can I propose that we accept all the bookings with a couple of provisos. First of all, you know, clearly we've had a number of bookings already set for the Dickens, for Charity Beer Festival, for a couple of other events that escape me presently. Now, clearly they have to take the car show. Sorry, Councillor Jordan. How could I forget that? So, you know, clearly they take precedent because permission has already been given for the use of the square on those particular dates. Now, hopefully, you know, obviously this mainly is to the pubs, but we'll be back to some sort of sense of normality by then. But if we're not, And it would be quite nice, in my opinion anyway, for the pubs to use the square, all year round. But clearly those big events that have already got permission to use the square have to take priority. The only other proviso I would give or recommend for the pubs that want to use the square is, clearly there's no interference with the market traders, both where they set up nor the access onto the square, as previously in the summer. And the only other thing is we did have a couple of comments last year about the stickiness on the square after the weekend. So if we were to our streetscape, Borough Council streetscape, to cleanse the square on a Monday morning, would the pubs be willing? We're happy to sort of incur that cost. I can't see it being a great deal, but it just keeps everybody, happy. And as I say, the market traders do, pay to use the square all year round as well. So, with that proviso, I'm more than happy to recommend everybody that's applied to use the square, including, as Councillor Denise Clues has already mentioned, the food, the pop-up food stand. That it's fantastic. I mean, it really is. I mean, it just looked so good. I thought last summer for those brief few weeks when the pubs were allowed to open and serve outside. That sort of almost that dare I say European feel in the market square in the sun, everybody having a good time, and I think it was brilliant. It was a real addition to Atherstone and the square, and it's exactly what the square is there for, in my opinion. So more than happy to recommend that we accept.
Thanks, Councillor Wright. Can I just say that really for the advantage of the publicans, one that hasn't been mentioned is the women's cycle race, which takes place on Wednesday, the 6th of October. I don't think that's been mentioned too much, but it's something obviously that the publicans will be interested in. That obviously the square is taken in its entirety for that day. Councillor Singh.
Yeah, following up from Councillor Wright, I fully agree. I will second that proposal. I mean, even the square at present time, the benches are used. You can see people when the weather's good, they're coming out, they're sitting there and using the square as much as they can. And following on from last year with the bars, the pubs using the square, it worked very well. And as Councillor Wright said, I'm happy with this, the square being used, with the proviso it doesn't interfere with the market days, which is Tuesday and a Friday. So if their access, they can get their stalls on or the bands on or whatever they do, and if they're okay, then we're happy. So yeah, I would second that proposal.
Okay, take Councillor Bishop.
Thank you, Chair. Just clarification that the issues surrounding the licensing and the crossing the road that had to be referred to Warwickshire County Council, is that now all resolved to make it clear to all the licensees that they are able to use that with no further issue? The email that came back from Steve Maxey, although it suggested that was the case, it wasn't. It didn't clarify it.
I'll ask Councillor Wright because I think he's more au fait with this. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thanks for allowing me to speak again. Yeah, I can confirm that, Councillor Bishop. The Borough Council, I mean, it hasn't got a great deal to do with the Borough Council, but the Borough Council has stepped in and found a solution for the public. So it's within the guidance, it's within the law. As far as the license is concerned, the pub licensees have got their license covers the use of the square, and everybody's happy. And it's taken, as I say, a little bit of time. And it's taken the Borough Council Chief Exec step in and find the legal position and all the rest. So we got there in the end, and I think it should be recorded. We thank Steve Maxey for all his efforts in sorting this, because he's done a sterling job, and David died as well, the licensing officer, because he was somewhat frustrated, I think is the polite way of putting it.
Right. Councillor Singh, is that a legacy hand that's still there?
No, it's a new hand. It's I'm just saying, the publicans are offering a table service now, well, they were last year as well. So the customer will not have to cross the road to get to the bar, to the pub. So there is that safety issue. It's all there. So we're just following on, as like Councillor Wright said with Steve Maxey, it's been sort of talked out with the county. So we're happy with that. As long as there's table service and the customer doesn't have to cross the road to get to the bar unless they're going to the toilet, that's their choice.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Councillor Singh. I can't see any more hands, so we've had a proposal from Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor Singh. I will ask the clerk to take the votes. Sally.
Okay, I'll just do these in the order I can see on the screen.
Yeah.
Councillor Gurney.
For.
Councillor Jordan.
For.
Councillor Jarvis.
For.
Councillor Wright.
For.
Councillor Tony Clues.
For.
Councillor Major Singh.
For.
Councillor Denise Clues.
For.
Councillor Sarah Bishop.
For.
That's all in favour, Chair.
Okay, thank you, everybody. That concludes everything with the Market Square. We're now going to P&C, and Atherstone Town Council recognise the reasons for exemptions as laid out under Section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972 applied to principal councils only, but are making use of them as good practice, guidance, and in accordance with their standing order. It was resolved that under Section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972, in view of the confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, and namely details in terms of contracts. Proposed by myself, seconded by
Major.
I'll second.
Okay. Do we need to take a vote on that, Clark? I think we do, don't we?
No, that's fine. If we can just
No.
wait one moment to allow people to leave, and then I'll
Okay.
remove anyone else who hasn't done that.